Welcome back to another video.
This is going to be potentially a new series where I yap about basically my gripes with video games, and maybe they're different from other people's gripes, you know? Maybe this is the video you were looking for, and these are the problems you also have and agree with. I will put a video on the screen and link it in the description that basically covers a lot of Rainbow Six Siege's current problems. That's what this video is on. You read the title. That video goes over some pretty good points about the most recent update and what's wrong with Siege X. They mention like rank 2.0, a banning system fix, which would also need like the categorization of the operators to be fixed as well, because Thermite, Habana, and Ace are all in different ones, so you can't just ban a single operator from, say, support or like hard breach. Yeah, I don't know, Ubisoft is stupid. Basically, it feels like Sims players coded it. People who have never touched another game. No offense to any Sims players. Anyway, that's a good video on that. But the biggest problem, in my opinion, is with every update how hard they focus on making an anti-cheat. When, sure, cheating is a big problem, and it's embarrassing that they can't fix it, but I think the other problems with the game, if they had fixed those, less people would want to cheat. Like Rank 2.0, for example, which is very terrible at the moment. Ranked 1.0 made much more sense with the 10 placement matches. One thing I think causes more cheaters as well is the fact that they went free to play. We've seen the most cheaters ever, and the game went free to play. There's no risk to them getting their account banned, so of course cheating is going to be easier. Let me go over what makes Rank 2.0, in my opinion, suck. And it's the fact that your rank doesn't really mean anything now, but only how much you play and like when you started, to an extent. I mean, if you sucked bad enough, you won't progress, obviously. Basically, what I feel like happens in my games in ranked is I get enemy teammates who are kind of the projected skill that I'm at whenever I'm playing, probably not where I would end up. And then my teammates are all actually people who would be in the rank that I'm currently in. They're all really bad, and no matter how positive you are, you lose, and you lose MMR, which I think that could potentially be a fix. Is if you outperform the entire enemy team, all of your teammates, you're the only one that's positive on your team, and you got more kills than the entire enemy team. Maybe not combined, obviously. I mean, if it is combined, then yeah. Why are you losing any kind of rank? Like, you didn't lose, your teammates lost for you. Obviously, you can't ace every single game. Like, you're not Bolo. I actually have an example where at the beginning of the season, I was winning like every single match, had a really high win percent, and then like a switch flipped. And I lost, I was 1 win away from Emerald, and I deranked down to like Plat 3, and then I just like kind of sat there and didn't progress at all because it just wasn't worth it at all. Solo queuing is abysmal. Abysmal dog shit. Like, you kind of need friends, and I do have them, but not all of them are quite as good as me or on all the time, and now I don't find myself really playing many other games aside from like Monster Hunter and Final Fantasy, which I have my own gripes about. Maybe a future video on that. Moving on from Ranked 2.0, what else do they do that you might hate? Nerfing operators to shit. Jaeger, obvious example. They nerfed his gun, they reworked his gadget so it's like much less powerful. They did recently buff it so it gets like all projectiles like gridlocks and Capitao bolts, but they nerfed his speed as well. He used to be a 3-speed, he's now 2-speed, I think. I don't know, I'm really not that OG of a player. I started in late 2019. What they should be doing is buffing operators to meet strong operators, like so they can actually compete with them, rather than nerfing one to the ground. Or if it's actually that overpowered, like say Lion was, you know, rework as they did to him. And, you know, it seems like they used to be good at doing that. But just like how they used to add 2 operators like every update, and used to add more maps, there's like no new maps coming out. Hardly any per update. And max like 1 operator, if that. Maybe a rework that they count as a new operator. The fourth thing they removed terrorist hunt elimination, which is the main way I practice shooting moving targets on the head. There is like an aim labs kind of thing, an aim trainer. It's boring as balls. It doesn't really help with like angles and stuff. Like I want to go into house, the map house, and just shoot a bunch of things. And there is, I don't remember what it's called. I think it's like location training or something like that. There's two different ones. One is not as good as the other. Anyway, you can go into it and infinitely shoot enemies that spawn on a floor. You can choose house. That's what I do. The problem is they don't move. I would like them to move. I would like to be able to quickly like swap between any operator having defense. That would make it better than terrorist hunt, T-hunt. It's not a terrible replacement. It's just not there yet. Dying too, having an actual, like, you can see that you're taking damage. Maybe some people would rather die and then just swap out their operator because they died than doing it themselves by like pressing a button, swapping operators. So yeah, I felt like I was getting worse, but maybe there was just more cheaters and I had no interest in playing ranked or playing the game as much because ranked 2.0 and the other changes they had made. Now, one of the biggest changes recently that has really affected, like, Siege X isn't, right now it is unplayable. As the video I had mentioned someone else made. It is pretty unplayable due to the cheaters. Rank 2.0, all the problems I'm going to list in this video on top of the cheaters really sucks. But they added a lot in Siege X that made me come back for like, I don't know, not even a week, just like 2 or 3 days. But the biggest thing that turned me off was the change they made to laser sights and the grip attachments. Why on earth do laser sights make you ADS faster? It makes complete logical sense for them to lower your hip fire spread because in real life you would be able to see where the dot is. So if it's dialed in, then that helps with aiming when you aren't scoped in ADS, aiming down sight. And also having the laser sights make you ADS faster doesn't make any sense because one, it's more weight, how the fuck would that, and that does not make sense, like logically. If you think about it, you just not use it and not be an aggressive attacker or like a roamer. You're using it for the ADS speed, so you're probably not going to be holding angles, which is what that prevents, but everyone, like, the guns feel really slow without them. Most people, I feel like, might run laser sight, and then you're not going to be holding angles as much, which is just going to make you run around, shoot people, TDM, team deathmatch. It's always going to be a thing. And of course it's always going to be a thing, because it's a fucking team game. Like, that is one of the ways to win a match, is kill the entire enemy team. And I think that's not something people dislike about the game. Basically, like, bomb defusal is an extra tool to get people to push, to encourage interaction. So I don't know why they care so much about changing that. The grips are a whole other thing. Angled grips make you reload faster? Well, I don't know what fucking sense that makes. I think they added more recoil to guns, so like that's not even like viable. Horizontal grips are new, they make you run faster. Okay. I guess they inject you with fucking heroin. The guns feel more sluggish than ever, and I really don't like those changes. I haven't heard anyone sing praises for that. Another thing, I don't even hear anyone talking about, but was kind of a big deal, was they removed the ability to kick players from your game. So even if you do have a stack that is big enough to just immediately kick an outsider, well, you get a cheater, you can't kick them. So you're just forced to either play the game or leave, which they removed penalties from because of all the cheaters in the game. Which is not the way to do it. Add kicking back into the game. We need it now more than ever because it's a free-to-play game and now cheaters don't have a consequence to getting banned. They removed recruit from the game. That was a big identity. You know, you got the fucking Power Rangers out here, different colored recruits. They made it so only one person can be striker or sentry. I feel like that lost what was special. A lot of people feel that about other ops like Tachanka, however you pronounce his name. Let me know in the comments down below to farm engagement. Anyway, they changed operators that, well, maybe they needed a buff. People miss the character that it had. And recruit was a pretty big one. People were upset about that. Another thing I hear people asking Ubisoft to bring back, but they will always ignore, is the night maps, where I think the skybox would glitch out and it would appear as night. I don't know if the maps were always like that because I didn't play back then, but from my absolute zero research, if every now and then a map was nighttime, that would be a cool change of scenery. And what's messed up about them fixing that is there's so many other bugs that last throughout updates. Like there have been audio bugs where like your audio just cuts out, you have to play a whole match, no audio. There was one bug that actually prevented you from moving your camera at all. I don't know if that one was an old one or if that even lasted many updates, but they just like deleting lines of code, I guess. Like every update it feels like new bugs are added. This is the buggiest update. That guy mentioned it in his YCJX is unplayable video. It's the buggiest it's ever been. They seem to not fix the bugs that matter, and the bugs that people thought added character to the game, they don't implement as features. They just don't listen to the community. They're very focused on Pro League, not even ranked. Pro League kind of seems to be the only thing they care about, and it's just kind of killing the game. I've heard complaints from one person ever saying they didn't like how Casual had the pre-built setups. And I can kind of understand that. I can get behind that. But that's what unranked is for. Last few things to talk about is more of like the menuing, I guess. If I do make more videos like this, like make this a series, why you quit X, not the website, obviously. Maybe I will start doing stuff like why you quit Discord. Anyway, the current menu is kind of ass. Not gonna lie to you. The new menu UI is just kind of weird feeling. I'd rather just have like, you know, play tab, then it's a drop down menu, click on ranked, and then, you know, just words. Whatever they had before honestly was fine. Like I don't know why they changed that. I guess it is not too hard to go into like any of the game modes and then change their settings and stuff the way it is now, but I don't know, it's just pretty awkward to me. I can't give some constructive criticism on how I would change it, but that is my opinion. And there's also a yellow notification on one of the tabs that I've looked everywhere and cannot get rid of, and that, you know, for people with OCD, that would suck. Alpha packs, sometimes they just don't open, but, you know, I don't, how is that even a thing? Interesting. But charms and operator card stuff being like epic or legendary, like that is a huge disappointment. Like I don't feel like those should be, unless they're part of like, you know, like an elite set, I don't think they should be categorized in those. Like a lot of charms and operator cards like really suck. And that goes for all skins in general. A lot of them just seem ranked incorrectly, or like the rarity is judged incorrectly, where it's not as cool as the devs thought that it was. And vice versa. Like some of the lower end stuff can look pretty cool. I've seen some cool rare things that I would run. I think I do. Operator cards and the charms, they're not seen as very valuable by the community, so it's very disappointing to get it in epics and legendary packs. And the last thing I guess I'll touch on is there was a Valorant kind of skin added to the game, new rarity. I don't really care because it, like, the audio and stuff, that already really affects you client side wise. If you want to be like that, that's fine. They kind of need more money because of course they do. It's a AAA studio, greedy ass bitches. Anyway, it is a free-to-play game now, so they're doubling down on the ways they get money. Yeah, that's pretty much everything that I can think of. That is why I don't really play anymore. A lot of my clips that I've been editing are from 2023. I do have newer ones than that, but it's taken a while to get through all these clips. I just got through like almost all of my NVIDIA shadow play. I started using OBS to shadow play, basically, and it was way better. My closing thoughts, though, they're only really trying to fix one of these numerous issues that I have with the game, which is the cheaters, and they failed to even successfully do that, which kind of boggles my mind when like flying cheats come back, just crazy ridiculous cheats that you would think the server would be like, okay, someone can't possibly do this. There's a lot of lag switch cheats, stuff like that. Why are you watching this video? Maybe it's to validate your opinions on why you left the game, or you wanted to know why you're not having as much fun. Maybe it's comforting to know that these are known problems. Maybe you think that other people knowing will get them fixed soon. Probably not. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Ubisoft, but if they see this video, like, these are complaints. a lot of these, if they were reverted, would make the game more fun. Or if they just found better solutions to what they came up with, because they weren't solutions, they were what I see as problems. But you're not alone, so yeah, see ya.